Namah Shivaya, Om 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 Namah Shivaya. It is done, it is done. Hallelujah, it is done, it is done. Shivaya.
Om. Namaste. Welcome everyone to Satsang today. Welcome, and welcome all the friends who are joining us for Satsang today in real time from different parts of the world. Big welcome to you. Some people, it's now 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. Very good. Good time for Satsang. Good. What do we got? I remember you.
Bhagwan, can I come up there if you allow me?
Start down there.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
It's been a year and there have been a lot of panic attacks.
Panic attacks.
Sometimes, as many as 3 times I had to rush to casualty. And
They take you in casualty for panic attacks? I don't know. It's true.
they do all kind of tests and nothing comes up. And I'm already on the medication, I told last time. I don't know how to deal with the panic attacks. With great courage, I came here alone this time. During the whole journey, I wanted to go back. So much was the anxiety, but I said, no, I will pull on.
Very good. Very good.
And
You come up then, I want to come. New version of Satsang starting today. Tell me a little bit about these panic attacks. You go to the doctor, they say they cannot find anything wrong with you.
it's a fear of annihilation.
It is a fear of
Annihilation.
any relation.
Annihilation. The fear of...
It's very loud a bit. Huh? Yeah, maybe don't put it so close. Your voice is good. Put it. It's a fear of
It's a fear of death.
death or annihilation.
Annihilation.
Annihilation. Okay.
Indian English. And it is very, very powerful.
First of all, let me say quickly that very often when people are engaged in any authentic exploration into the nature of the self or of truth, then it's not uncommon that you get this, many people feel, I am going to die. They start to feel like that. I get quite a few letters like that. I'm going to die, I feel I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I think it's going to be very soon. And I said, well, we are all going to die at that level at some point, if you want to say like that. But this is not true. What is happening is that some deep-rooted tendencies and some delusions are being dispelled. And because we have developed some affection for them, and it feels like they are leaving, it feels like a kind of grieving, a kind of death. It is misinterpreted in the mind, now I'm going to die. You see? So what you're saying is not so uncommon, and I say this out loud so that everybody who hears this type of thing, they can say, yeah, actually this happened also to me. Many people have this feeling. And only what is, one time I say, welcome and embrace, step into this fire of self-discovery. This fire will not burn you, it will only burn what you are not. I say like that. The same thing also, you're coming home. And many things are coming to distract you from going home. Yeah? In fact, as you see them in the clear light of understanding and wisdom, you'll see that they don't stop you. It is something already inside us, some form of resistance sometimes, something sometimes conscious, sometimes subconscious, reactions are coming out, and it feels, I'm going to die, and then something believes it. That side of our mind, of our nature, that is identified too much with the time body, begins to feel afraid, time is running out. You see? And so the fear comes. But it is due to wrong interpretation of what is happening. Actually, something very good is happening. You are not dying, you are coming alive. You're actually coming alive. Alive just doesn't mean being biologically alive. Alive means to be aware and fully what you are. Then you see, my gosh, all this is here. It's not just that you are breathing and you can walk and you can talk and you can think. Not just that. But that you are again, your mind is united. You are functioning in more a field of totality. There's a wholesomeness about you. Then you feel your life feels like it is continuously expanding, becoming more rich, more wide, more full, more empty also. You see? So these panic attacks, the doctor tell you, no, nothing wrong, we cannot find anything wrong with you. You see? It is only still the I. I told you one time about this man, he went to the doctor, and he said to the doctor said to him, what is the problem with you? He said, doctor, everywhere I touch hurts. Doctor said, everywhere hurts? Yes, everywhere hurts. I'd never heard of such a thing. He says, yes. He says, if I touch here, it hurts. No? If I touch here, it hurts, no? If I touch, it hurts. The doctor is looking and says, I have never seen anything like this. You touch here, it hurts. I have never seen anything like that. Touch your foot, touch, hurts. So the doctor says, no, it's a very special case, and he did a thorough examination of him, at the end of which he says, sir, you have got a broken finger. You see? You got a broken finger. Everywhere you touch, that's right. You see? You're a foolish man. Yeah? You say, everywhere I touch, it's hurt. But that place is okay. But the finger, the finger is hurting. The same thing with the eye. The eye, when it is some personal eye, everywhere it goes, trouble. I go to these people, there's people over there that are causing, and it doesn't see that it's coming out of its own psychological narrow-mindedness, you see. So something is like that, the mind is interpreting, something is wrong, I'm going to die, maybe I should give up this type of practice, this practice is not good for me. And we are accustomed to listening to our mind like that.
In fact, I have been on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medicines for almost 18 years now.
Let me tell you something, and all of you who are depressed or anything like that, find out, identify the one who is depressed. Do it. You see? I have 18 years taking pills for one who doesn't exist. Of course, this is my words, not yours yet. 18 years I'm taking tablets. For who? For whom? Who is the depressed one? Now, no doctor is going to tell you that. But just for yourself, I'm not telling you stop your tablets, I'm just telling you take a look first and see. The depression, the energy of depression, you feel it. Something feeling going low, down, 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 down. But the one who is depressed, see if you can identify it. Like really use the smell of the depression to lead you to the one who is depressed. See how it look like.
Nobody is found.
Huh?
Nobody is found.
Nobody is found.
But still the symptoms of the physical symptoms and the mental symptoms.
Okay. But first thing first, nobody is found to be depressed. Depression is depressed about depression. Must be. Something is looking, you're looking, I ask the question, see if the one who is depressed can be found. Simple question. And when you've looked, no? And you found nobody there is depressed. Next thing, what is making this discovery also? What is making this discovery that there is nobody there? It's been looked and no one is found. what is it that is making this discovery? I looked for the depressed person and it's not found.
That again is no one. But yet, it is, yet, I mean,
some sensation is there,
yes.
feeling of going down. So therefore, if nobody is there, if something is observing the depression, something is observing the state of what you call depression. Huh? Because the actual depressed one we cannot find. But the energy, you say, and the feelings of depression are coming in. But they are observed, no?
yes.
They are observed.
Yes.
That which is observing depression, is that depressed?
No. That is not depressed. It is simply seeing conditional, the way the life unfolds. Similarly, it is seeing the sensations and the body reactions. And
is
the
it
mental
reacting
conditioning.
to them? Is it reacting to what it is perceiving?
No.
No.
Yet it is there.
It is there.
I mean, it's a dream kind of a thing, if I call
Let
it.
me
But it is
continue
still,
a little bit. Let me continue a little bit. So if what you may say, and I'm not disagreeing, so the feeling, the symptoms of what you may call depression is there. Or we can also substitute depression for any other thing that we are talking. So that is seen and it is felt energetically as being in the body somewhere, no? It has an effect on the body that you cannot deny. Something is affecting the body. Now there's the awareness of that, the presence of that energy and the effect of that energy that is also watched. Okay? You don't need to call it any name. The sensation has no name. Something gives it a name, depression, and that has already some psychological connection. It creates depression, The thing was with you all the time, and something is, and then somebody gave the name depression, and you've heard this name, I'm depressed, oh my God, no. So some also reaction to the name. You are depressed. I'm depression. Oh my God, my grandparents were depressed. Oh my God, it's a future for me. And you see, so sometimes a sensation, something happens to us, something happens in the body like this, and by itself, it is just whatever it is. And sometimes it is very brief. It is a sensation or a feeling that comes very strongly, a wave comes. By itself, it is just whatever it is. But next what happens is that some energies come, a kind of interpreting habit or tendency to start to interpret that, and that comes from the mind. And then it makes it personal. You are depressed. You're not doing very good. You are going to get mad. This voice starts to speak, and you, the consciousness, buy into that. You start to believe, oh my God, no, I don't want to be a depressed person. And you see, it is very important to not just begin by analyzing, but by observing a little the sensations. When you get into the habit of observing rather than going with your reactions, some space opens up internally and you can see, wait, now the condition is strong. I can feel that state is getting stronger and louder. It's going woo, 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 woo. And you're told, don't identify, simply observe. Don't say, this is happening to me. Just observe, let it happen. Hand over your existence to existence. Don't hold on to yourself, but stay only as the awareness. This is self-inquiry also. And it gets more and more effective and swift, and it is immediate, it is direct. And what is the purpose and the power and the value of the inquiry? It is each time exposing the myth of the mind and again revealing your true position as that background awareness, that pure spirit intelligence that is here. And this is why each time you speak of things like this, we break it down frame by frame, take a look, and so that you come to employ more your natural power to observe the reactions, the tendencies, psychological, emotional, mental. You can observe them. Many people, I feel you are suffering from lack of observing. Too much, like a reflex, we are in and busy, identified with a state which was naturally going to change in a while. But because you identify, it seems to stay longer, it becomes much more empowered by your identifying with it. Identifying with anything is the craziest thing we can do. It is empowering illusions and delusions to identify, while at the same time you have the capacity and the power to observe with equal power, with equal focus. The need to identify is not real, it's not true, it's just habit. No one has pointed to us that it is not a fact that you must identify that this is happening to me. You don't need to identify in order to perceive clearly. In fact, when we identify personally with any experience, it blinds us. It robs you of the space to observe more. And so your inner spaciousness becomes claustrophobic. If we learn even this simple thing, observe this very simple thing, then already, you see, you'll find that even the notion of depression begins to leave you. At present, you have embraced a concept, you have embraced a reading about yourself, and you're also suffering from that concept also.
This is also the fear of losing oneself.
Of losing oneself. Now, you tell me what it means. You tell me in your own words what it means, what you have just said, what it means.
It is very strange. While I'm able to observe it in a very neutral way, everything from the position of nothingness, I think there is some identification. My another query is, I do not know how to function in the world, because the state of the nothingness and the emptiness, the breath, it slow stops, and then it is somebody like, who doesn't know swimming and, is drowning. That kind of a state comes in. I'm going to die. And I know after, this is an illusionary death. It's only notional fear. Yet the experience is so strong.
Yes. You, the consciousness, believe this fear into existence and also supplying energy to it. You have believed it now. It's another trick. But you believe into it and you have believed it into existence. Your belief empowers it also. And perhaps there's a tendency, I don't know, because also one man who's been coming to Satsang, yesterday we met, he and his wife, we were going out and I saw them. And they said they come to say goodbye because they're leaving this morning to go back to Bangalore. And the wife is crying, so immediately I go to her. What is the problem, Amma? What is matter? She said, it's him. He's behaving very strange. He just keeps saying, nothing is real, nothing is real, nothing is real, is real. And he's like this, nothing is real. I said, what's happened to you? Oh, no, Swami, everything good, nothing. No. So what happened? What happened? It's all unreal. So I said, you have to take care of her, no? Because you're only saying nothing is real like that. And then I said, we are leaving now, so we gave some contact. Please, when I come back, we'll talk again, we'll meet. So we met again. And still only this, very strong, but almost like inside a bubble. The wife is so much caring for him. She's also here in Satsang. They came, they had a beautiful Satsang. But yesterday, somehow a change, very strong, nothing exists. Nothing exists. You see? Then I said, okay. We had a talk, and then this morning again, we had this talking. They're going now to the airport. We are also, one of our friends from Sangha is escorting them to the airport because still he didn't sleep and still she's concerned. We have to go now to Bangalore via Dehradun, but we are stopping also in Delhi for 2 hours, and I don't know if it is going to be fine. I'm telling you this, I'm not hiding anything, because when you speak about this, sometimes people are afraid. Maybe I'm going to become like that. I just think nothing exists. Maybe nothing exists at all. And they don't seem happy actually. Nothing.
This is precisely the state with me now. This is precisely the state with me now.
But it's not the true state.
I just feel, like there is nothing to do, which is...
It's not the true state. It is actually, the mind is imitating the state. I've met it a few times. The people say, oh, you must not, don't go with that. Don't go to nothingness. Because I've been there. Nothing is there. Nothing is there. Nothing. There's no joy. There's no sorrow. There's no sorrow. There's no sadness, but there's no happiness. Nothing is there. It's cold and lonely place. No, don't go there. I went there and I saw, no, my life is very important. It's very important to come back to my life.
Bhagavan, before I landed in your lap, I was with another living master, and I had an instruction from him that actually there is nothing to do except what is there to do. Just close your eyes, sit till the body falls. So this has gone deep down in me.
I don't agree with that. Nothing in the dynamic expression of life is opposed by itself to the realization of the self. Nothing in itself stands in the way. You see? Everything is internal. Everything is how your own temperament and mind structure is behaving. There's nothing outside. If you're strong inside, everything outside will be fine for you. If you're weak inside, everything, even a child will come and touch you, you're down. So it has to be something you do, it's an inside job. You have to do your work inside. And I'm pointing you to that work, to be clear, to stay from the place of the awareness itself. And though you're moving in life to do what you're compelled through your prarabdha karma to do, still internally you're in perfect serenity and evenness, total equanimity inside, perfectly at peace. You see? And nobody can understand that. Because we are so much, attached to the actions of the body and the senses, like you are the doer of them, but you are not the doer of them. You are not functioning your senses. They are functioning by themselves. You're not beating your heart, it's beating by itself. You're not breathing the air. You're not doing it. Something is doing it by itself. Even the thoughts, they are rising by themselves. You actually got very little to do. But the ego doesn't like that. It wants to do. How do we do? You see? So I don't feel that that was the correct advice. If you all just sit around all day waiting for your body to drop, what is that about?
Babaji, all these things, the life is unfolding spontaneously, but the mind is still at rest. I mean, if there is no stimuli, then there are no thoughts also. So, I want to know from this state how to come back into the world. I'm definitely not in the world. I want to know how to come back into the world. I was so natural before, and now I'm finding myself in a state where I was able to, in fact, put my mind into all the activities, and all this kind of awareness and other things were not there. So I was living a very natural life as per me. And then this by the grace, of course, the consciousness wanted to know itself, and all these things happened. I landed in the lap of 3 masters, you being the third. And now I don't know how to go back to the same state earlier, where I was actually doing everything and I was not making any effort to remain conscious. So I'm making.
Who is making effort to be conscious? Isn't consciousness already here? What do you mean you're making effort to be conscious? You mean effort to observe from the place of awareness itself?
I would correct myself. It is the effort of turning inward and merging into self. That is the effort. So whenever...
For someone like you, by now you should see that that also is dream. I have to speak it out like that, but you should see now.
Yes, I do see.
If your sadhana was authentic, you would have come to see that even that was needed for a while you're at a certain stage in your sadhana. But if you came through that, you will see that what is simply needs no technique, it needs no effort. I thought you understood in your heart that thing.
Yes, I still do.
That you more than understood it, that it was natural for you.
I did not understand.
You say, you understand it, but more than merely understanding it mentally or intellectually, but that it was the natural state for you.
The natural state earlier was, like a corporate executive.
Like a corporate?
Like a corporate executive.
What it mean?
What it means is like, you are engaged all the time in the mindful activities.
I see.
And
the one who has somehow merged, their mind is merged, you may say, in the awareness, they can do even that. They can be in the heart of some corporate activity, if that is their natural karma, or to move. And they will do it, but inside it will not disturb them. You see? Because they'll see that this is the activity of consciousness also, not of the person. They will not have any strong personal ambition or desire to do anything. But they may find that they're in that world, so to speak. It's not that when you're in the state of pure awakening, in the natural state, everybody is a priest. No, not like that. Someone has run a business, one has a family, one do this, one do that, in the outer expression of life, but inwardly, there's this, you're in the natural even state.
But if it was a natural state for me, and if the sadhana was authentic, I should have gone through the experience of the oneness, which is still not there. I do see the consciousness at times. I see everything alive, sentient, insentient, everything alive. But this state does not remain for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
What observes its momentariness? What observes its impermanence? You have to stop there and consider this, because something is slipping through the net, and an obviousness, and you're picking up the wrong conclusion. If you say, I can observe that the natural unfolding of the manifest world, everything in life is just happening by itself. It's happening. Even when we have a feeling that we are making it happening, that's also part of the great happening. If you see that, you've understood it in your heart with your entire being, then you say, at one point it stopped being like that. You see, it ended. Then I say, but what observed the ending of that state? You must look into that, you see. Is that a lesser state? Is that also ending? Is it not the same place you've been looking out from all the time, your deepest place of seeing? Are we together on this? Do you understand what I'm talking? Or we're on our own or what? Yeah.
I seem to have come in the front of the consciousness rather than being at the back of it, like you say sometimes. And this has become very, very strong. So I need Your
You
hug.
see, yes, okay.
I need your hug, cuddling. I need your blessings more than.
You have that.
I want to fuse with your energy.
Huh?
I want to fuse myself with your energy.
You're externalizing things more now.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, because like I say, you're aware of this, all of that. And now you're taking some shapes from your mind. You know, I need to do this, I need to do that. I am in front of consciousness rather than behind. You see? That's a foolish thing to say, actually.
This is
You can appear to be in your bodily existence, something is moving, and there's awareness immediately of that, and the awareness is not doing. So therefore, sometimes you feel, I am doing, but somehow I am not doing. Huh? I'm eating, but not eating. Walking, but not walking. And those who have understanding will know what you're talking. Huh? The people who have no understanding of this, they'll say, what the kind of crazy thing you're talking? You're talking but not talking. What does it mean?
Actually, it is strange. Both the things are existing together. Like I see you, still don't see you. But I do see you, I hear you. But I will not even remember what I'm asking. I will not even remember what you are talking. But I'm hearing you, yet I don't hear you. I mean, nothing registers as such. Nothing is retained. But both the things are existing together.
You don't know what is retained, actually. You don't know what is retained.
Kindly guide me.
Some things are retained subconsciously, without your effort.
Yes.
You see? You may come out from here and people ask you, you've been to Satsang with Mooji? What did he talk about?
That is precisely what is happening.
It does not mean that something has not entered into your being, you know? It does not mean that. Because we're not in a classroom where you have to write notes about it necessarily. Somehow you're present. And in real satsang, it's not just to your mind, sometimes it's a mind bypass. It's straight somehow, it is happening, understanding is taking place in some deep way, but you cannot verbalize what that is also sometimes, isn't it? So don't worry for that.
Babaji, thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Can you hug me?
Come on then. I'm going to hug you like that. Okay.
Babaji, please.
Good.
First, I want to thank you for everything.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate it. So my question is, I understand that the sky is the awareness, for example, yeah?
As an example, okay.
And the clouds is the thought.
Okay, carry on.
Part of clouds. Is.
Yeah.
What actually is the mind?
Mind is thought also.
Mind is thought. So everything we have not stay still. Everything is. There's a moment that everything is finished, like our body, material things. Everything is not stay still forever. Yeah. There is something that stays still after we leave our body.
Also, while you're with the body. You don't have to wait. That is the point, no? That not just after, with the body also, you must know it. It is not blocked by the body. It is not blocked by the body.
So there's something stays still, like in our incarnation, the awareness is coming back.
Yeah, actually, it doesn't move. No, it doesn't move, you see. It's never moved. And yet, it's not stiff. It never changes. Yet, it's not stale. It doesn't come. Therefore, it cannot go.
Every action we do,
Yes.
by thought, talking, doing, is like a recording. Yeah?
Carry on.
Record. So where all that's recorded
Yes,
is, like where is staying?
yes.
In the mind, in the awareness, in the thought. I'm a little bit
First of
confused
all-
and I want to...
Okay, first of all, what you are speaking about, the questions you're asking and the answers I can give, they cannot be objective, you see. I cannot give you an objective answer because there's no objects there. You see, even thought is not really object, you know. In fact, nothing is object. Even body is not object. But in our experiential world, the way we experience things, we say, you know, this is a tree, and that's a cat, this is a river, and so on. Because through the senses and the mind and so on, you can speak like that. So you're saying, where's all this information? Where it come from? And I have to tell you, it comes from the same one source manifesting all of this. It's coming from there. Nothing is outside of the source.
So the emptiness that we talk about, because I would like to organize something that it's not clarified for me.
Yeah.
So when we just with the awareness,
When
that's
we-
the empty,
when
where
we-
we are just in the awareness itself.
Okay.
This is the emptiness itself?
It is experienced like emptiness, you can say, because there the activity of the egoic mind has ceased. You see? The activity of the egoic mind. Egoic mind means the sense of being a person, and the person is also an aspect of consciousness, but it's a very, very compressed and a very limited form of consciousness. So the consciousness which naturally is not limited, you may say, paints a portrait of itself as a person. And then it's a very limited notion of consciousness. And this very limited consciousness called a person is a very vulnerable state because primarily it identifies with the body, which is a time body. It means that one day the body will not be here. It appeared and one day it will disappear. It has a birth, it has a life, it has also what you may call a death. So when consciousness, which does not share the same qualities as the body, which is a time body, identifies with that body, it then starts to have a subtle trauma that one day I'm going to finish, and it feels vulnerable because it knows the body is prone to sickness and eventually to annihilation. It will pass away. So it takes on all the qualities of the body, and so it comes into a state of what you may call insecurity and sense of vulnerability, which is not true to itself, but it will adopt these states while it is in the delusion that it is the body. And also the conditioning that arose around that particular body is also believed by the consciousness. And both the I am the body belief and also the belief in the conditioning that arose for it comprises what you may call a personal self. So while we are in the state of a personal self, that is not a truth, but it may appear true for a while because the consciousness believes in that state and so enjoys and suffers within the limitation of that state. And satsang is only, again, bringing, waking, shaking the consciousness back to its original, what you may call purity and unbound nature. No? And this is an experience. It's not just food for the intellect. It is that as you follow, you are experiencing the truth of it. Why I say like this? Because what is cannot be developed. What really we are cannot be developed, it cannot be made more real. It is untouched, it is pure, it can only be discovered. It cannot be perfected. What is being perfected is the idea we have of who we are, which is a form of consciousness, is working on itself and becoming more and more refined by life's experiences, because everyone, every sentient being is in satsang. Everything is compelled to evolve in the dynamic life. We're all growing, so to speak. But a sage, for instance, one who is awake to the truth, knows that even this growing, ultimately, it is a part of a dream. You know it so clearly, like you say, I know this flower is yellow. They know it in this very straight way. You see it. But for those who believe very deeply in the identity with the impermanent manifestation, they will also believe that the world that we're living in is completely real according to their projections and conditioning. Therefore, I say, we will never be one and experience our oneness as humanity while we are in our own separate dream perspective about life. Because everyone is living in a very unique personal world. You see? Only the one who has come inside, who has come back to their own self, such a one is a universal being, and finds themselves in the heart of all other beings, so to speak. This universality is what you are going to be discovering more and more, until the efforts to be clear about this also will fall away.
And one more question. Thank you. I would like to know what you think about cause and effect, karma, in the seed that we plant.
Karma.
Where all these seeds staying? In mind?
Yes.
If you can please.
Yes, you may call in the realm of the consciousness also. It is there. All these things are sprouting. Like when you go to bed, you have had a full day, and you go to bed, and perhaps the first part of you being in bed, maybe for a while you are in a dreaming state. And you may dream that you are a king somewhere, would have a big empire to run. It doesn't have to be that you dream, you go to bed as a woman, you dream you're a woman. You can dream something else. You can dream you're a horse. You see? But still some consciousness is there. But in the deep sleep, all bodily notions are gone. You see? No identity is there, no belief is there, no otherness, no world, no you, as you ordinarily exist in the waking state. That is not there. And yet, nobody is afraid to sleep. Every day, we invite sleep to enter into a state where nothing is there. We buy good bed, the best bed, in order to enter into that state where nothing exists there. Every day we go to this place. And somehow, no identity, no belief, no religion, no otherness. You could have a brand new baby today, but in deep sleep you're not a mother, there are not children, nothing at all. You get married this morning, honeymoon tonight, go to sleep, no husband, no wife, nothing is there. And nobody goes to sleep screaming, no, no. No, you're happy. You wake up refreshed. Where did you go? From beingness to non-beingness, you're there. And something is also aware also. Do you enjoy sleep? Do you have the experience that you enjoy sleep? Yes, you enjoy sleep.
So when we die, we don't take nothing with us, even though the seed of all the actions, thought, and everything we have in our mind. Like when we're born clean again, with no karma or no seeds.
You really want to go into that subject?
Yes.
Okay. We're entering a very big room. But we can go. Let's see how long we can walk together in this room. The whole thing about karma and destiny is only relating to the body-mind and the phenomenal world. You see? As long as you believe yourself to be merely a person, you will be functioning, your life will be functioning within the laws of these concepts, energetic concepts. So destiny and all of this will pertain to you very, very strongly, and you will not be able to escape it while you are somehow aware of yourself primarily as a person. It's going to be like that, you see. Then all these things will be there. Karma, destiny, and so on. You may not believe it, may not accept it. You see? Just that there are certain laws we are living under, but you're not aware of them. You see? Still, they play their role. You don't have to be conscious of them. So your question is that, do these things exist? They exist for as long as you have the notion that you exist as this person. You see? But the one who has transcended that limitation, which could be you also, because whatever transcendental experience take place for you, ultimately you cannot go beyond yourself. You will come to that ultimate place. That ultimate place. But while the consciousness is in the state of the evolutionary identity, it likes that identity and it suffers it also. You see? And it takes, I don't know, I may use the word grace, I can use the word destiny, that somehow now and again in some unit of consciousness or some body, the consciousness seems to express a very powerful fascination for knowing itself rather than knowing phenomenon, knowing otherness. It turns upon itself and it wants to, it's like discovering what it itself is. But this is very rare. For a long time, we are attracted only to objective knowledge to learn about the phenomenon or the phenomena that we perceive. And so the attention is always going out in some relation. So this is a very powerful relating to interrelated opposites. You're relating to life, object and subject. But yourself appearing as the subject of your experience is an object in the greater consciousness. You with me like this? Then you can keep on going like that, to keep going. And if you don't come to the higher state of understanding, whereby you come to the place of the awareness, which is still functioning in you, even if you're a person, you're still functioning as awareness, but you don't know it, because you've adopted another label that you're a person, and by believing in this label, that becomes your reality. And it somehow seems to eclipse the deeper understanding that your nature is pure awareness. You're living more as a kind of biological, psychological, physiological entity, but not knowing yourself as the pure awareness, which is the height of discovery in the human kingdom, for a human being to discover their root consciousness. But for a while we have no attraction for that. Then you have all come to a place like this because the seed is in you, an attraction towards that. Whether you will complete this or not, I don't know. But something is already moving in you in a direction towards your home base. You're moving towards that. But also, sometimes this urge, this drive, is a shared urge, that you have other ambitions, other things you want to do, and so your mind is still functioning in a fragmentary way. Gradually, with experience, not just intellectual understanding, but with energetic correspondence, and you're feeling the unity and the harmony of being energetically, then this will be powerful forces moving you more deeply into the heart of being. Then the surface consciousness, the superficial nature, they will begin to thin away. as the deeper awareness is coming to the surface. But all of this is happening naturally. I don't have to put you on any particular exercise. My pointing is very simple. You follow and automatically you see, but wait a minute. But all these things were just my thoughts. I was thinking my life rather than being who I am. You see? So depending, if there's a powerful fascination in you to make further explorations into the phenomenal world, it will take you a very long time. You can keep going. Because it's almost you can go without end, discovering more and more. But at some point, if you're fortunate, you may come to see all my explorations have only been in the mind. I've not gone anywhere actually. Just accumulated a lot of information, but still inside I'm not totally happy, I'm not at peace, like that. The fulfillment of the human existence, of any sentient being in fact, is that they come to a place of rest while they're alive. You see? Because nobody is resting, really. I said before, you have to go to the cemetery to see rest in peace. Not living beings, nobody resting in peace. Everybody in pieces. But peace, not bodies in peace. Yet the height of the human opportunity of self-discovery takes you to peace, to wisdom, to joy, a natural joy. Not the joy you derive from contact with some object only, that also is joy, but the pure joy, which is the joy of your own being, the joy to be. Yeah. You see.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, very good. You want to come? Okay then. Thank you.
How can I purify my love?
How can you purify your love?
How can I make it more pure, more clear, more divine?
First, you must go to the highest expression of love. Love must transcend its seemingly dualistic limits. When love becomes the unity of being, the harmony of being, then you have reached the reservoir of love. From there, that love will feed every other expressions of love. But if the love is only a tribal love, a love that I have for you, or love I have for this thing only, it will still be what I call an object love. It will have a limitation. You have to actually become love. It's not difficult actually, because it is already so. It is already there. How do you perfect your love, you say? How do I perfect it? Satsang is a very good start. Because the person cannot love with universal love. It's too limited, you see. Too many likes and dislikes, too much preferences, too many conditions, too much expectations, too much aspirations. The person will not do it. The much they can manage is to love locally. I love my friends, the people who somehow don't threaten me, then I will put love towards them. So to find this love that you speak about, you have to also disappear. Personally. When you disappear personally, you will be left universally. And then that you and love, same thing. But there's no technique to do it. It can only be discovered, it cannot be made, cannot be helped. Love needs no help. Love helps everything else. It needs no help. And it is perfect in itself. The more personal we are, the less our capacity to feel and to radiate love. You see? Yeah. Then when you discover this thing, then too much love for you. You'll be too much love. You can give everything, and you love all the human beings. You've filled the human kingdom with love. Now you go to the animals and the insects and the birds and everything you love, because it doesn't have a boundary actually. And I'm not speaking poetically. People are discovering more and more that they did not cultivate love. They found that something was just radiating love, and it seemed like it's inexhaustible. Now, it does not mean that within that love, something is all fluffy and sweet only. Sometimes that love may chop something and chop something, but because it functions on every level. If we only have emotional love, affectionate love, then it's limited. In fact, all of this is love. But we have to have the mind to see it and to appreciate it. Funny enough, sometimes even things that look very disturbing, painful, are expressions of the greater love. We limit love to try and make love resemble us, meaning our human notions. But it's much wider than that.
First of all, thank you so much, Mooji. I've been watching
you.
you on YouTube for 2 years, and it's just continued to change my sadhana and my life.
Very good.
I don't even know if it's a question, but I'm sitting in the heart with wanting discernment of truth. So I've been observing for many years, and it feels almost like a camera aperture where when I'm caught in the little eye, it's very tight, and I experience whatever is happening. And sometimes that feels, there's no way through it but through it. If I'm grieving, my father died, my mother died, it's felt in the body, it's there. But there's also the observer that I noticed in deep grief when my father died, in observing for many days. All of a sudden there was a recognition that the grief is intense because the love is so intense for that relationship. And then when the camera aperture opens more and more light comes in, that observer dissolves, there's just a witnessing, but it's not a subject anymore, just witnessing. And so when that happens, it feels like there's limitless space and complete silence. And this happens a lot with me, and it feels still like my experience. But when I'm like that, and it comes and goes through every day, sometimes it feels like the camera aperture closes and I'm I. Then it opens moment to moment and I'm witnessing. So the I, when it feels this spaciousness, there's almost image of the whole universes are in my body. And it's like I can see billions of galaxies. It's very beautiful, and it's empty. There's no emotion, there's no bhakti, which comes and goes also, but in this there's no feeling, just quiet, just silent. And so then I feel I'm in the center of all these universes, and all the billions of galaxies are around me and still silent, no emotion, not really thought coming and going.
You are there as what? Let's slow down a little bit. You are there because you are there in the very core, in the middle, in the center of all these swirling galaxies and everything like that. You are there as what? Just slow down for me and slow me. Do you have a tangible presence as you? Because you say I still feel that I'm still there, As what are you there?
When I asked that question, because I asked, so what is this that's feeling this? The image dissolves, and then there's just nothing. There's no image, there's no emotion, there's no bhakti, there's no jnana, nothing. And then I don't realize until there's a feeling I'm back. It's like consciousness blinked out, and I'm not conscious of what.
Isn't the utterance or the feeling "I am back" also not a sensation perceived in the same unchangingness?
Yes, it feels like a quality of very subtle isness or something. I'm a something.
Yeah, okay.
It's very subtle, but I feel that whatever happened from when I'm in the center and then I'm back, I know I wasn't sleeping. I didn't pass out. So I'd like to remain conscious because I have this feeling that the isness, that subtle isness dissolves, but I can't hold it. I don't know, I don't consciously know it. So I'm not sure what my question is, but it might be discernment, because often I don't feel huge bhakti. That can happen. It's been so strong. I went to see a cardiologist because I said, my heart gets really crazy when I meditate. And they said, well, they did all the tests, it's all fine. So I thought maybe it's just opening. But this isness or blinking out, coming back, there's no emotion, even bhakti. But it feels wonderful. I actually prefer the stillness to
Yes,
the
of
bhakti
course.
feels like an energetic movement. The stillness feels quiet.
Yes, yes.
So I think, I don't even know what my question is. I just felt there might be clarity of what is that blinking out or coming back or...
There is even the sense of a blinking out and a coming back. They are then also are recognized to be phenomenal. You see, which they must be. No? They are expressions in time. So some sense of having been blinking out and coming back also, it is perceived. So again, one turns to where does the perceiving itself issue from? You see? That which even perceives perceiving even. Don't go to the mind with this, you see? Because somehow, and don't look for pictures. No imagination is needed, but pure intelligence is working here. It's looking, you see? That even these are seen, you see? And it's not a riddle, it's like these are seen. And each time the recognition, but even this subtle thing is seen, you see? There's still this immensity is here, you see. You are still feeling a sense of being, because, and nothing is wrong with that. The sense of being, of consciousness is there. But that it doesn't go into a shape, it doesn't create itself like the old tendency to create some physical anchor for itself to say, I am the body. No, it is just the sense of being is also there. You see? But even, I say, but the sense of being itself is also perceived.
I think that's where I don't want to use the word stuck, because it's like that camera aperture opens and closes and it can play.
Yeah.
But it's...
aperture opening and closes is also seen.
Yes. And so it's just, it feels that when I have a conscious awareness of being, awareness itself feels like a subtle isness. It feels still something like a subject. And then when I blink out, there's no subject till it comes back.
If you stay as the awareness, all these things will fall away. They just fall away. The need to know this or not to know that, all of that becomes redundant. It just becomes a bit like, some excuse for creating some mind play. Just all the, from the waking state has come back into play. Nobody made an appointment with it. It simply happens, waking state. And then the total functioning of what you may call my waking state life. So if my name is George, I can only be George in the waking state. If I get up at 6 o'clock, I'm George from 6 until 10 o'clock I go to bed. I've got George is only from 6 to 10. Because in deep sleep, I'm not George. Nothing at all, isn't it? So the content of the waking state is where my dynamic life exists. where I have the sense where I can transact or relate with other beings. My bank account is in the waking state, my parents, my photo albums, my ambitions, whatever it is, all of that is inside the vault of the waking state. In deep sleep, I do not have any contact with it, I have no interest in it at all. You see? And also, what is functioning, even in this body also, it's something, some energetic urge creates the movements that are expressed through this body, or even the thoughts, whether some thoughts will be engaged with and others not. This is all quietly observed. Yeah? And not even in some active way. There's no particular interest, unless the consciousness wants to manifest interest in something. So what exactly are you? And maybe when speaking like that, some people may think, I'm not sure if I'm attracted to something like that. Like, I like being a doer, I like creating. But also the one who has found himself, enjoys the creativity, the dance and the play of creativity, not taking it to be anything more than the play of consciousness. There's no private ownership of it. And that is your joy and your freedom. One watches, in fact, and feel that you can somehow enter different points of consciousness naturally. And you feel naturally you're not in any real opposition to any perspective, because you can adopt any perspective. None of them are consequential to you, because as awareness you have no perspective. You have no devotion to any particular point of view. You can do that. And yet in your dynamic expression, as life and as a sense of individuality, you'll have your taste. If you love tahini, but you ate peanut butter or whatever, it will still feel, I don't want peanut butter, I prefer tahini. You will seem to have your own choice, your own things that you enjoy, some things you don't enjoy. Are they of consequence to the awareness? Not at all. When you realize yourself, you like everything. No, you still want to like some things, it's okay. But they are the superficial expressions that give joy and diversity and a sense of individuality to the consciousness in its dynamic expression as life and beingness. Behind that, you are still here. So you enjoy both the dynamic existence and somehow that still infinite, impersonal awareness is there, where it's not making any calculation, it's not working life out, it has no otherness, it has no conflict, it has no opposition. None of these things exist. Nothing in any encyclopedia, any dictionary or thesaurus from any language actually conveys anything about that. And yet all of them pours themselves out. It is the womb of all that arises as manifestation. The words may seem very whatever it is, but the thing in itself, it is wordless behind all of this. And yet in some beautiful mystery that, we have a life that has a harmony, has a coordination, it has a rhythm, it has feel, it has texture, it has change, it has all of this. And it is governing all of that.
So I feel that longing for discernment, it feels like awareness when I'm in that center, and especially when I let go of any image of galaxies or whatever, just to be here.
Yes, the discernment is functioning spontaneously, as and when needed discernment. The self does not need to be, sort of like working itself out all the time, except when that's for its own joy. It's not always busy, it's not active. It's somehow, it is there in its own silence, it's always present. It doesn't have no job. As we were saying, it's not my job, it's my joy. So sometimes something needs to be looked into deeply, and intense focus arises spontaneously and maybe delete some seeds of some notions like that, and then comes back to rest. And every moment it is fresh, every moment it is fresh. And yet, it is unchanging, still, silent, effortlessly. And if a movement should take place in a billionth of a second, it is caught in that which makes no movement at all, it is perceived. We don't need imagination for it. Because before any perception move, it is already here. It underlies all perception. Therefore I say the functioning of perception is perceived in it. This is our ground. The root of our being is that. Knowing this, every facet of your expression is automatically lifted up, brightened, supported from this central core. But it's not a sweaty work, automatically. This is the joy, actually, of the existence. While we have the sense of being, the physical being, a psychological being, our work is never done. You're always in the field of activity. Once you see from the place here, activities still happen because activity is not in conflict with truth. So it is the dynamic aspect or expression of the same source. They are one. But if we try to understand it only intellectually or mentally, it will always elude you. You will never come to grasp it. You must understand it from within the truth itself. Everything is made clear. If you want to say everything, because even everything, I don't know if this is the right way to speak. Everything is the same one. However diverse the manifestation appears to be, all of it has its DNA as pure consciousness. One knows that. The scientists are studying these things now, but the scientists themselves must realize that in the heart, not just in the mind. And then knowledge becomes spirit, not just like that. Not just information. Knowledge is no good as just information. Knowledge is only the mirror in which the timeless is reflected. That's all.
So I guess what I'm trying to feel is whether I'm in some delusion, because it totally feels no emotion when I'm in this empty space. It doesn't feel any personal involvement. There can sometimes be an impersonal compassion, just
yes.
It's not personal.
Yes.
So I just don't want to sit for 10 years deluded if there's some feeling or something, or would I just be quiet?
Even if it came down to say it is a feelingless feeling. If I say to you something like that, very subtle thing, isn't it? There's a feelingless feeling. The marvelousness of consciousness comprehends that. You see? And I said, this pure awareness is purer than that. That feelingless feeling will occur inside that unchanging awareness. It is incomparable. It is incomparable, you see. But something keeps popping up and say, but how do I know that is it, you see? So this one is more the mischief. It is just a voice wanting to be clothed with identity. You see, arising in the vastness, you see, in the infinite space. You see, how can I be sure that I'm not just wasting another 8 years thinking that I've got it? You see?
Yes.
Because you think from the position of awareness, would awareness have this dilemma? Am I sure I'm just the awareness? Or maybe, or is there a way to be sure that I am just awareness? So as long as the seeds of the mind are there, they will sprout some doubts. Some doubts are also useful, they're helpful. They can help in, sometimes some meditation needs a bit of friction and it provides the necessary friction in order to, the whole process of transcendence works like that. When I say that it seems the consciousness creates the sense of a problem in order to have the experience of transcending it. Maybe all this existence is like that. The ever-perfect had to taste the sense of imperfection in order to enjoy its perfection. There's no such thing as non-duality without duality, you see? Except if you're just, pushing your mental capacity in just a mental thing, but it's not alive. Duality is not a fault. Without duality there can be no experience. And experience is very much at the heart of the game of life. And trust in your own self. Every now and again it will bring something, and you will somehow look at that internally and work with that. And there's a joy in that also. Look and say, but what doubts have to come. Doubts are also part of it. Doubts have to come in order to sharpen your dharma eye or something. You see? To throw yourself back. Because even after the state of the realization of the self, there will continue sometime to have some little tension will be there. It needs the tension. It has to have some twang. If it's all slack, then then the weeds start to come back in again. It has to have some kind of alertness inside the beingness. But you understand?
Yeah, I feel I do, and it just feels where I'm at is just to surrender to the goddess. And
who is saying that?
It's definitely the me, the little me.
Yes.
When I'm in that identity, and then it does feel like I do rest as awareness, and even something maybe more subtle than a word called awareness.
But the resting in awareness, or in that, the resting in that becomes an activity, and it will have a starting point, ending point. Easy. What is cannot be saying to be resting or doing something. It just is.
I feel I know what you're speaking in here, not as a thought or an idea. I feel I know.
Yeah. Behind the field of the moving phenomena is the unchanging self. It is not any distance. It's distanceless. It's not behind or in front, actually, because we're in the consciousness. We have to use these terminologies, but it is in no direction, especially. It has no direction. North, south, west, east is not pertaining to awareness. Inside, outside is not pertaining to awareness. They manifest in the realm of the consciousness, and we can speak from there. The consciousness, you may say, is the dynamic expression of that absolute. They are one somehow. One, the dynamic side, and the non-dynamic side, if you want to say like that. But we don't want to go too far, otherwise the mind starts to create more shapes to then try to knock them down. This is what the mind has to do. They build up a shape, let's knock it down. You see? So whatever shapes are built up and knocked down is of no consequence to the awareness itself. It's simply, you may say, the dynamic self or the sense I am is marinating in itself, and then somehow it just merges in that absolute. Now that's not to say you're going to end up like this, sitting like that. Unless it is your expression in consciousness. But you'll find that nothing in life, the senses are not in conflict with this. They belong to the dynamic field, and they will continue. In the dynamic field, emotions will show. You'll find yourself laughing, crying, going to parties, having a dance, if that's what the consciousness wants to play as. If it wants to sit at home and sort of like, just kind of grow potatoes, it will do this as well too, in its perfect state. You see, it doesn't have any particular expression that it looks more like. It can manifest like that. But whatever situation it creates as a space for itself, it will radiate spiritual influence from that place. Just like the trees, They are providing the air that we breathe, the oxygen we breathe, but nobody goes and thank them for it. Some beings who are awake to the self, their very presence are the oxygen, the spiritual oxygen of this planet, and yet they can go unnoticed. Not everyone who awakens to the self becomes some teacher or something.
It feels wonderful to have no more questions, Mooji. Thank you so much.
Very, very good. Thank you.
I love you, Mooji.
I love you too. Thank you for that.
Hello, Mooji.
Hello, hello. Before we go any further, can I say something that, every moment, the feeling is for this understanding to break open, to reveal itself, to come like that. Whether you're the one standing there or sitting listening, doesn't matter. Those eggs have to hatch. I feel like this. Just somehow a clear seeing is knocking at your door. Clear seeing to, So don't, if I could advise you, if you have the heart to listen to what I have to say, don't protect anything. Just be present and open. If inside your heart you feel, I just want to come home to myself, whatever that is. I don't know how it will look, how it will feel, but something is calling me just to sort of come completely at rest to my own being, to know that I'm not against working, I'm not against my family, I'm not against life, I'm not against anything, but I just wish to find my true being. If you're sitting in that attitude, you're sitting in your yesness to this, then happy, good. But if you hold something like, I'll listen, but I don't want to give this up, this is also, then you won't go beyond that, generally. Not absolutely, because if it is your time and your mind is saying, I'm not going to, it will happen anyway. You understand? But allow the grace that arises from your own self to satisfy its own appetite. You see? The self was playing a lot with the toys of its own projections for a long time. And it comes a time when it just wants to rest in its own, it wants to marinate in its own self. Now, whether that is conscious to the mind or not, we don't know. We'll see.
Hello, Mooji.
Hello.
I'm Carmen.
Carmen? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
First, I would like to thank you for what you do, that you reunite us and try to give us a thought about what life is. And I felt like I have a very special question for you. I would like to challenge you about something. I find life very beautiful. I don't have a problem, an issue, nothing. Every time I lose it, I observe children. I find them extraordinary, and I dedicate my life to children. I study about it. So it is about psychology, how they develop, how we might build them up, or how we might build them down. But there is no book about how we build down their awareness. I don't know if anybody thinks about this, because I find children extraordinary because they are awareness, they are complete. They are so full of joy. Every time I might get depressed, I just go out and see them playing, and that's all okay. I don't need any other, So because we have them in our care, it is like granted. We have children, we send them to school, they grow up, we send them to college, and that's it. And here we come with many questions, existentialistic question about how do I live now? So what happened from that point when I was a child?
I am missing a little tiny bit. Just back up to
Yes.
the last sentence. Say again.
we are at some point children,
Yes.
and we are aware of life, and we are happy with it,
Yes.
full of life. And then we grow up, and we come here to this satsang, depressed, and we lost it. And I wonder, how does this happen? What do we have to do in order to preserve this awareness into the children? Where do we take wrong? What do we do to erase this awareness? How do they lose it being in our care? I'm sorry if my English is so
It's
poor.
good enough. It's good enough. I
Yes.
understand.
So, do you have an advice for me as a mom, for me as a student in child protection, for all of us? How do you see it? How do we lose it? How we make our children unaware? I might
Yes.
say it.
It is not totally that you do it. It's not totally that we make them unaware. First of all, you could only say guide children into the recognition of that in themselves, or if you guide them at all, if you are in a position to guide them. Who is going to enlighten the children? They themselves have to be enlightened. Otherwise, we are leading them a little bit astray based upon our own limited ideas about the life also, you see? So it would take a free one to somehow keep the things that will... I have a little different view from you. Can I say a bit
Yes,
further?
please.
No? Okay. You feel that the children's life, they begin at the birth of the body like that, and and in a certain paradigm, a certain way, we can say like that. All the children are innocent, and why do some have to go through this and some have to go through that? It seems like a shame. All children should have a home and to have people care for them. We should value them and this type of thing. As we should with everybody. You can say like that, actually. And it is a view that will get a lot of emotional support, a lot of sentimental support, unquestioned support, in at least ideologically, everybody says, yeah, we should care for the children. All the politicians, yeah, we should care for the children. Is it just down to the adults that spoil the children? Well, I feel it would be a very limited look at life. We each must pass through this forest of existence. You don't know what is inside the seed to sprout. The seed may contain the genetic information of certain aspects of that development. But also, if I take the example of a tree, the seed, the genetic information of what kind of tree it's going to be, and all of that is inside the seed. But as it's growing, where the seed is planted also will influence also its expression. If it's planted on a hillside where there's a lot of wind, the tree may grow leaning a certain way or whatever. So it's a very complex subject. If you take it from the place that all children are just innocent and they grow up into adults who lose their innocence, that's one way of looking, but it's not the only way of looking. We were looking yesterday at one child, some of us, 3 years old, 4 years old, little boy. And this little boy is sitting at the piano. And, he's just a cheerful little boy. And very cheerful. Huh? Then the father is speaking something in his language, like play something. So he sits at the piano, grand piano, a Bosendorfer or whatever it is. And he's playing, like, so, wow, we're saying, how amazing, look at this. And very, very sophisticated music and a master player, a master playing. And you can see in his expression and he's not looking at the board. He's playing, and when he finishes, little boy again, like this, and then play another one, and finish, little boy again, and you make you wonder. Are you really a little boy? You understand? You're really a little boy, no? We see a lot of things. I also, one boy, they saw from 3 years old, parents, they took this boy to a museum. And this boy, they had in there some old World War airplanes and stuff like this. Little 3-year-old boy said, that one is called like a B-52 something. I don't know what the number is. Some complex kind of code. And the parents said, but what are you talking about? You know? He said, yeah, it was my plane. What are you talking about? We don't even see a plane. It's the first time you're seeing a plane. And then somehow they began to look and they found out that's what the boy said is actually on the label of what this thing is. That's what it is. And he's also saying, like, I used to be in this plane. He had nightmares, lots of nightmares coming, where he's saying, oh, I've been shot, and all this type of stuff. And then they come down to looking, they researched it. At first they were very reluctant to do it because they thought everybody's going to think that they're strange, that they're weird, and just keep telling him that he's just having a dream and this type of stuff. But as they checked out, he also said a name. My name was this thing, my name was that, and this was my squadron. Squadron? What is he talking about? 3-year-old little thing. Then they checked it out and they found that actually there was a squadron called this name. And there is this man also of the name. And they found a photograph. And they say that this is what this boy, that was his former life. And he was shot down. He told all the story and then the military explained what happened, that this man was a pilot he was shot down. Like that. How you explain these things? Your little child begin this life just like that and so on. And that's how children start from scratch. 0. And then they developed in this life everything. Well, there are many views to challenge things. And that's only one tiny part. Because something inside has to sprout. You don't know how your life is going to turn out. Some children are born into some families which seem so different an environment to their temperament and so on. And so you cannot calculate these things. You cannot just say, well, if we do this, they will all turn out like that. You see? So it's a much broader field and some aspects of what constitute a life, they are untraceable. But in a general place, I take your point that if there are ways in which you can guide children in a subtle way into meditation, they take to it very quickly, by the way. They are very easy at many of them. Some of them don't want it, but many of them are quite easy. We see in satsangs also when we travel, many children come and they are very, very happy. Also, animals come and they are very, very happy. They want to be right up here and they're listening. We had also our donkey, Vibhuti, watched every satsang. When I'm traveling in Russia, the donkey watched every satsang. And then sometimes when he was having a difficult moment, but watch, the Sangha here will tell you. So we don't know how to control these things, but as a general thing you can say, yes, can you stop the children from going in a certain direction? Maybe there is something to happen from this. If you give them if you have enlightened teachers, people who have a love, for obviously, when you find a teacher who has a love for the students and stuff, it really inspires them. But who is to say that that teacher was not part of their destiny anyway? And that the whole of life is cooking so many different pots.
I agree with everything you say, and it is not about providing a roof or giving them good clothes. I don't think it's about this. It is about forming them for the life, for the material life, in despite to forget this awareness, this beauty they have. My point was, my meaning, my humble meaning is, we have something to learn from them. We have to encourage them to be who they are without transforming that much, without brainwashing that much. I hope everybody listens and wake a bit up, because I think we form them in a box and we put a label and then they are lost. It is a little gap we miss on the road.
The work is to be done on the adults also.
Yes. So they are my guru, and this is what I came here to say. Maybe you will notice as well, they have something to teach us. And we should show them that we appreciate what they have to teach us.
Yes, yeah. Those who have the openness to learn will learn also from children. Learn from everything, in fact. but they will learn from children. What we love about children very often is the spontaneity, the innocence. They're not concerned about next week and the last week, most of them. And this helps to revitalize, and many adults feel an affinity with children because of that, because they feel themselves, the adults, pressed into a life, compelled into a life where they have to adopt certain things which are not spontaneous, that we lose your freshness. And so we are bringing children up also, some people in the same stream, and others, they, having gone through their own difficulty, they are now making sure that their children don't walk in the same limitations and so on. But it's a very difficult field to control.
So I don't know how you did it, how you made it, but you remained a child. This is what I see in you.
Well, because I see everybody, I don't think there's any grown-ups.
We pretend at least.
Yeah, I think everybody's child.
Yes.
80-year-old child,
Yes.
10-year-old child, 55-year-old child. We are all like that, in fact. The part of ourself that remains pure is our child, the real child. If you want to say this term, is that original innocence, which I'm pointing you, is untouched actually. There is an aspect, a dimension within our being that is incorruptible. You see, this is what my good news, I tell you. It is incorruptible. There's other areas which are corruptible, but something is incorruptible. And so we are only rediscovering that in satsang, to your joy. That as you come again into the field of your own beingness, you see, but wait, it's like I did not have to develop this. It somehow entered into some field of synchronicity, and it seems that somehow it's all here. All good qualities manifest spontaneously in the awakened mind, in the natural mind. Not necessarily cultivated. Cultivate when we have a very strong conditioning that we can only create ourselves is one version of how life can look. But also you can have another one and say we have to start on creating ourselves. We keep making up new versions. The mind is about doing, but yourself is of being. The human being, the human has to discover more their being than their doing, their intention, projection, and so on. You see?
Thank you.
Thank you, actually. Thank you for that.
Hi, Mooji. What you talked about now, about to be just in contact with this incorrupted child. Yes, this incorrupted child has been covered by so many layers all my life, because I had to transcend so many big challenges that I became in love with this identity of transcending challenges one after the other, one by one, and it became like an addiction. And this identity was made by a lot of very let's say, I have been like a self-made woman all my life.
every step, everything by myself. And I had to fight very strongly for everything. There had been many very beautiful achievements, but also a lot of hardening and wanting to control everything and just continue to have challenges and transcend them. And this last 3 years, especially this last 4 months, all the challenge vanished. All the challenge around me vanished, and maybe inside me too. And what happened that I felt really a kind of very deep loss and dissolution and fear of death and mourning and boredom, and nothing is really appealing. Nothing was appealing, and nothing is waiting for me as a person. Nothing is waiting for me. Nothing, and everything is finished. And this is this part. This is what. This is the covering of this incorrupted child. I think it seems to.
Yeah, Guru, you say it's a covering also, because from the place of the awareness itself, awareness can never be bored, isn't it? It can never be bored, can never be boring, and it's not exciting either. Is something far more exquisite, isn't it? If I say, what is the mood of space? What is the mood of space? I think space doesn't have a mood. And yet, awareness is not really just like space. They say space-like, but it's not space. Because the space almost is inert, you know? Awareness is not inert. It is the source of all existence, all life, everything. It gives life to life. And yet it cannot be defined. But when it is being discovered, no, that it is your own self, no, it's incomparable, but you cannot describe. No? You watch life sprouting in all its ways. Because your senses have come back down now, they've come back now, they have aligned themselves with the pure consciousness. Everything is simply functioning. You not have any particular, if you have a sense of favorites, it's not so deep, it's just playful. But your being is complete. And everything that you do or don't do or whatever is underlined by this stream, this joy of being. And you can't describe it.
So, what you said last satsang about the loyalty to the old,
the old way, the old identity.
To the old identity, yes.
Yeah.
I would like to maybe to clarify more that because I feel that the urge is really here.
Yes, yes. It will happen naturally also that something just soaks all of this off. I may speak about something in my childhood, but at the same time, I know if it's being spoken, consciousness is using it for some reason, because there's no particular interest in that or to retain any impression from any moment at all. In the past also, all of this, whatever that may mean. This morning at 7 o'clock, 7:15, what was I thinking? What was my passion? I have nothing at all. 5 minutes ago, there's no energy to go there. I'm only here, I'm only now. This afternoon at 3 o'clock, what I'm doing, it's scheduled something, but it's not live yet. I don't have to go there. I'm just here. I'm not doing here. I'm not being here. I am. You see? And this wonderful naturalness in us, that what is happening? I don't know what is happening. Maybe I'm feeling I don't know anything at all, actually. Nor do I ache to know anything. There is just such completeness, and you may say like that, using words like state of contentment. The beingness is at rest with itself. Reactions, interactions, actions are playing, but they make no impact upon the awareness itself. Yet in the dynamic field of the sense of being, moving, something is responding. And that responding, whether it's an action or reaction, interaction, is all just in the play of the waking state consciousness, is doing everything. Now, I don't speak freely about this because I don't think people understand the beauty of that. Because maybe we have a sense that we need to be doers of our actions and thinkers of thought. And the mind cannot imagine a life without that activity. It fancies the activity. And I am not against activity. Let activity be. Sometimes very dynamic activity, sometimes very graceful activity. But it's all fine. It's all fine. I cannot be defined. Who I am, who I used to be. It's completely meaningless. Who will I be tomorrow? It's completely meaningless. Who am I today? It's completely meaningless. It's meaningless. Of course, I don't go about telling people I'm meaningless and this life is meaningless and so on. No? Because it's no good to do that. But inside, something is not that it's meaningless life. I'm not depressed. Someone just came before and said, I enjoy my life. So do I. Life is joy. But I'm not pursuing that joy. The joy arises out of my own being. It's driving. You are joy. Expressions of joy also. You see? When I look at you, I remember myself also. So you are not, nobody has realized the self and complained about it. Why is it so peaceful? I don't know. There's all this harmony, man. No, I don't see anybody like that. I want to go back.
So
because,
this inner complaint, little voice whining of the old identity, the person which is there, it's whining inside from time to time and very not pleasant. Yeah. So just to ignore it.
Ignore him.
Ignore it because it's...
Ignore it. And this is how somehow it quietly slips away. The greatest, perhaps most effective transcendence of the mind is when the psychological mind becomes insignificant to the beingness. Got nothing to say. Mm-hmm. It is like the moon having a discussion about light with the sun. It's got nothing to contribute. It's got nothing to contribute. In that psychological mind, I say 99% of the time it's rubbish. The 1% is also rubbish. Forget about it. Can I say it like that?
Yes.
Because for a while we are a bit attracted to habit or something. But gradually, as you are coming now, somehow just melting inside your own fullness, the neediness is going. The negativity and the judgments, any old cobwebs from the past, they become insignificant. Really insignificant. And it is felt. It is felt in the very core of your being. Nothing like that. Don't worry about it. It doesn't have the same influence. You see? your attention is not so easily pulled out. The attention happily rests inside the beingness. You see? There's no way to be. You're not concerned about the way to be. You are. And in the profundity of this self-recognition, everything is nicely aligned without any managers of them. We're not managing existence. You are not living life. You are life itself. And simultaneously, the witnessing of life occurs to you. So not so much instructions, reminders also, pointers, check. Now, if someone say, on Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, what do you want to... It's like, why would you want to know that? Let the being be. Let it be in its freshness. Sometimes we have to make plans for practical reasons. Then it's the time, okay, we do that. But not dedicated, holding, oh no, it has to be, please let it be like this. No, let it be. And you pay attention to your own beingness, and you see it's all fine. It's fine, whatever way it turns out. Not that I don't care. Some people say, you don't care. No, it's not I don't care. I don't mind. Let it be like that. You're not so much looking to the play of the manifestation as a kind of measure of how your life is anymore. Your life is you. It arises out of your being. And yet something here is not arising and is not aroused. So this is what you are coming more and more into this. And sometimes when we speak like this, we share like that, you find that somehow there's a kind of feeling of like emptiness. The different contours, the context of your existence, you're not able to find. You may feel like, wow, but be with this, it's okay. Get used to the state of emptiness. First, mind will react and say, oh, you're falling apart. And so sometimes you have to fall apart. Whatever you call you has to fall apart. It's not the real you. The real you cannot fall apart and cannot be put together. It's none of that. It's so absolutely pure. And trust also. Something called you here to the altar of emptiness. Yeah? So, all this for me, it is good.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very good. Very good. Okay. Sometimes you may find that suddenly some unexpected tension is inside the body. The mind feels a little bit like a tree in the wind. But you don't have to try and stop the wind. Leave things and remember yourself and be here. Sometimes some thoughts are coming, no, you're being very irresponsible. No, you should go and try and stop it and so on. And you have to really be firm inside. And just not rigid, not suppressing, but simply aware that these are merely thoughts. You have to come to see them. Which thought should be acted upon? Also, I cannot give you a manual about that. Just you staying firm inside your being, one with your being, is maturing the capacity to discern more cleanly these moments when they come. In the moment, you will somehow know. You will just know. You don't have to work it out. You will either know. And if you don't, you keep quiet. But not panic and jump into that chaos. And gradually you come to see that so much is imagined, made up in the mind. And you begin to experience more yourself. Your sense of self is like a sort of inner space, like a space that is moving about in space. But there's no boundary, but just a subtle sense of beingness. So beautiful. Can we have somebody up to says yes? Good today.
Open to whatever this day may bring. Open to see it is all a blessing. Open to lay aside all expectations, all judgments, all doubts, all hesitations. Open to let go. Open not to know. Open to the heart beyond me, beyond time, beyond mind. Open, oh open. Open, open, open to whatever may come my way.
to be open to come what may. Open to open my eyes, open to see. Open to be free, open to be. To the light of the light that shines. Open to accept, open to I don't mind. Open to change into the changeless. Open to myself, nameless. Open, open. Open